I got a 4-pounder with a nice flat.
Working that one piece, it took about a
So I'm happy with it. Alright, there's another episode of the Poor Man's Product Review. In my quest to get set up to do sandblasting for the smaller blacksmith items that I create. Today I made another purchase, spending money like I got it. So we're going to do an unboxing, we'll do an assembly, and we'll see how this sucker works. So stay tuned. Alright, this particular sandblasting cabinet I picked up at Tractor Supply for $99.99. It's a JobSmart 3.18 cubic inch. Works at 40 to 100 psi. It actually comes with a gun, and we'll see that a little bit later. And it's recommended 5 to 9 cubic feet per minute. Here, a little piece of styrofoam goes here, and then the rest is the cabinet. The question is, what's the easiest way to get it out of the box? And the answer is like this. At least the answer is going to be like this. Lift that sucker up. Up there. Get rid of the styrofoam. Believe it or not, I was looking for styrofoam just last week. That's all it takes. Fit on the table somewhat. We'll do a quick walk around, just fresh out of the box. Haven't done anything with it yet. Looks like we have a port here in the back, an exhaust port here, spot for your arms. I noticed something else here. On-off switch, and that's because this thing comes with built-in lamp. Open. There we go. So it has a built-in lamp in there. Chain retention on the door, that's nice, so we don't be breaking things. So look at the gloves up close. And hopefully in that box down underneath there is the sprayer. So let me go ahead and take this apart, and we'll see what the piece of parts are. I'll open this thing up again. I sit on the ground so you guys can see it a little better. Piece of cardboard was in there, and the book in the bottom is a grate for holding your parts up. I've read some reviews that this is a pretty flimsy grate and it won't take heavy parts, but fortunately for me I'm working on very small parts, so it is a bit flimsy. I mean, if you were to put something on there 20 pounds or so, it might be a problem, but not going to be a problem for me. And then this box here, short of that, that's all there is inside there. This particular thing here, which my guess is a dust cover for this stage 1 filter. So let's take a peek at what's inside the box. What I'm hoping to find inside the box is spray gun, and that's what we got. Let's see what pieces of parts come with that. The gun, definitely a much more flexible hose than let's see if I can see what I'm doing here. Much more flexible hose than what's on the standalone spray gun that I bought, but that's fine. It's got a ceramic tip in there, nozzle, and appears to have 1, 2, 3 other nozzles, each having a different orifice size. We have the pickup tube here that will go on the end of that hose. Teflon tape, and then probably an exhaust port cover or something like that. We'll figure out where that goes. So that's what's inside the box. There's one more thing, AC adapter, or at least the power adapter, and I'm assuming, since the only thing electrical in the whole unit is the lamp, so I'm assuming that goes to the lamp. So let me go ahead and pull the manual out, and we'll make sure we know what we're doing. And one other thing that was inside there were, I think 1, 2, looks like 2 replacement protective sheets. My assumption they get taped onto the inside to help protect the glass from the abrasive. So that's nice. So there's a lot of, it's pretty much, at this point, it's looking like a pretty good turnkey purchase. For $100 you get the cabinet, the gun, the gloves, a light. I think it sounds pretty good. So let's pull the manual out here, take a look. Information. You know what the best part about this is? There's almost like no assembly. We got to put the gun together, and we have to plug in the lamps, it's indicating something here with the gloves. Install the filter and put the feed nozzle in. So that's pretty cool, very simple. All right, let's talk about things that the book doesn't even come close to covering. There's a plastic plug covering a hole in the very bottom of the case. I'm not sure what that's for. It's a small hole on the side, which would make sense bringing an airline in, but there's no way you'd fit an airline in that hole. And then on the back of the cabinet, there was this plug covering a port that doesn't go directly through. There's a bit of a downdraft bracket here, so it's hollow underneath. I'm assuming that is air inlet, so that if you were to hook up a powered exhaust blower or vacuum, that this would allow air to come into the cabinet while it exhausts the dust. That's fine. And then they gave you this little cover that goes on here, but I mean it doesn't stay on very well. It's not very tight at all. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with that. I might just put a little bend in it. If I jam it over there, it stays tight. So the question that I have is, am I supposed to run my airlines out the bottom, or am I supposed to try to fit my airline through here, which it just doesn't fit? So I got to figure this out. All right, well that didn't take too long. Looking at the drawing here of the gun, it really doesn't say anything. But if you look at the gun itself, remember I said that hole in the side of the cabinet was too small for an airline. Well, it's too small for an airline. It's a small diameter pipe. It has a couple of washers to plug that hole. So I need to just thread this thing through that hole. Is going to be my inlet, and I'll plug the air on the outside of it. Bottom hole is going to be just a clean out hole to clean out the debris if you want to use that. So figured that out. Let me go ahead and get this gun installed. Alright, so as much as I'm a little disappointed that they didn't tell me, you know, what all those ports were and how to use them, now that I've figured it out, it actually is quite nice. The end of the intake nozzle here, the air intake nozzle on the gun, has a air fitting and then two washers. What you're going to do is leave one washer on, tough one on there to get a nice good seal. Inside washer through the hole, outside washer, and tighten that baby down. So you got 3/4 inch on the outside and a 9/16 inch required on the inside. Snug that up, and there you have it. Now I'll go ahead, and it did not come with a male nozzle, but fortunately I have one, so I'm going to go grab that and put it in. So connect the male on there. Wrap that nice with Teflon tape. Go ahead and throw that in that port. And get that nice and snug, so we don't have any leakage. That's good. Alright, so with that in place, I think we are good to go. Again, on the outside we now have our air port. On the inside we have our air supply line leading to the gun, and then our feeder line is down below. So at this point we are good here. Alright, the media supply line gets put into the feeder tube gets installed into the media supply line. Little hose clamp here, tighten that down. Simple as that, we have it. So that's that part. There's a couple of dented in spots on the tube, and I assume that that's where those two brackets go. However, it's, you know, when you install this, whatever twist and turn you put on this hose is going to determine whether or not the hose is going to be in the way. So you want to make sure that you have the hoses twisted where you want before you go ahead and snap that in there. So by doing what I did, now both hoses are off to the side. They're not going to be in my way too much at all. So I like that. I think that's good. I think we're good to go. So the last thing to do now is to go ahead and install the power cord for the light, cord untangled. The connectors in the back of the switch. We'll go ahead and plug it into an extension cord and we'll see if the light works. Did it survive shipping? We're gonna find out, aren't we? So we'll flip that on. And I don't, oh, there it goes. Took a second. There's your internal light. So that's gonna help out a lot. My little homemade jobber didn't have a light on at all. Because the hoses are all going to the right hand side, this grate has a 45 at one side. I'm assuming that that is to allow for hose management. So I'm gonna put that 45 forward and to the right, or yeah, to the right. I'm going to put the media intake line underneath the grate and the air supply line above the grate. And that's it. Sets right in there just like that. I'll tell you, they talked about it being flimsy, but if you put it in the right side up with these brackets down, maybe they've added the brackets since people complained about it. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. That's definitely a good looking setup there now. So to give you a shot of the inside, there's the grate, air hose. A lot of people complain that it only fed over to the left-hand side, so I do see that as being a problem. I might even just remove this grate entirely, because if you're trying to move the media over there so that it continues to feed, there's no way to get down there now with this thing in the way, so I might take that out. And but short of that, I think it looks good. So I made an executive decision. I pulled that grate out. Again, I'm holding small pieces. I don't imagine that I'll necessarily need that. If I do, I'll come up with a smaller, like a half-size grate. I'll just cut that thing in half, because it restricts the hose movement, and it also will not allow me to move that media down. So I'm going to give it a try like that without the grate, and I might come up with a different solution for the grate. But let me go ahead and put some media in here. And got the air line hooked up to the compressor, so we will see how this works. I think that's all I need in that box. Throw that in there for now and see that a little bit. And I'll go get a piece and we'll see how it works. Alright, so what I'll do, I got this railroad spike knife that I forged up a long time ago, so it's been sitting around. Lots of forging scale on it and a lot of rust on it. We're going to go ahead and forge this, or sandblast this and see how it turns out. Right, here it goes. First test. Here we go. Not getting a good siphon on there. That's a fail. Let's try this again. It just it got plugged. The feeder intake line got plugged. Give this a go. If you can, hopefully you can see what I'm doing there. That works better. See that spot there? Gone. So I actually have some media where I mix this black stuff up with white sand. I think I'm going to try that, because I'm just not getting the feed that I want. Not at all. Well guys, I don't know if I've ever slammed a product before, but I'm about to slam this one. The cabinet's good, but that whole feed mechanism where they had the hose laying on the side and then curled up and around, especially with my compressor with only, at the maximum 5.5 cubic feet per minute, not enough air to do anything. I couldn't suck up any of this media. I couldn't suck up my little sand and slag media. It just didn't work at all. However, and ironically, this is the design that I planned on building for myself if I were to build one. If I run the media feed tube out this drain hole in the bottom, directly into a bucket or a bag of media, so that tube is straight up and down,
that works really well, and I'll show you that in a second. And that, again, that was my original design for the cabinet that I was going to build before I decided to buy this one, because I want to be able to do coarse or medium sandblasting, and I want to be able to do and switch to fine, like crushed walnut or something. So in order to do that, I don't want to have to keep emptying out the entire hopper, so I figured I would feed right out of the bucket into some box and let it drain right back into the bucket. So this may actually work best in the end, but that's the only way I can get the thing to feed right now. So let me show you what I got going on. Got a rusty old spike, really bad rusty, and we'll run it in there and we'll see what happens. All right, hopefully if I block the glare you can see this happen. Right about like that I think I'll be, so here you go. Take a look at it. That's what it was, and this is what it is now. I didn't do that side, so there you go. So definitely works better that way. Final verdict on the little sandblasting cabinet. Is it worth $100? That's the question that I'm asking. To have, you know, I was going to build one of these, right? And the materials to build something like this, I bet you I would have spent $50 easily. So now it's got to be, is it worth the extra $50? Interior light, which I didn't have nor plan on doing, that's worth quite a bit of money. As far as the actual design of this thing, now keep in mind my compressor only goes to like 5.5 CFM, and the cabinet and gun asked for 5.5 to 9 CFM, so I don't have, you know, I'm on the low end of it. It would not pick up this medium grit stuff with the normal installation with the feeder tube laying horizontal and bringing the gun up. It just didn't work, period. But by feeding that feeder hose out that drain hole on the bottom directly into a container of media, my little sand and black diamond mix worked very, very well, and the black diamond mix worked very well. So end of the story. Let's just call it right here. I don't understand their design. It's too restrictive of a flow, unless going to 9 CFM really makes that, you know, or 7 or 8 CFM really makes that big a difference. It's worth $100. Let me just say it that way. Especially because it took me right back to my original concept and design of being able to blast and drain at the same time and be able to switch out media just by changing a bucket. So $100, yeah, it's worth it. But you might want to consider your compressor. If you're on the low end of the compressor, you're going to have to come up with some arrangement like this, because it just did not work very well. All right, there you go. Poor man, always trying to do as much as he can with as little as he's got. That's me. It's a poor man's product review. I say thumbs. $50? Yeah. $100? Yeah. Out of here.